Now that we've talked about Paul a little bit, we're going to step into one of the most puzzling and frankly a little intimidating books in the Bible, the book of Revelation. If you've heard of the book of Revelation, it may have been in the context of end times preaching, rapture movies, or late night TV prophets explaining how modern headlines fulfill its prophecies. Now, Marcus Borg invites us to put all that aside for just a moment, because Revelation is not a coded timetable for predicting the end of the world. It's not about the rapture, a concept that didn't even exist when Revelation was written. It's not about escaping the earth to some disembodied heaven. At its heart, it's a book about hope, written to encourage people living under the crushing weight of empire, which makes it a very important book. So here's the historical backdrop. Revelation was written near the end of the 1st century CE, so the 1st century in the Common Era. Rome controlled nearly everything around the Mediterranean. The Emperor Domitian demanded not only political loyalty, but religious devotion. He was addressed as Lord and Savior. Now, for most citizens, this was just part of life. But for early Christians, refusing to honor the emperor as divine set them completely apart, and sometimes put them at risk for a lot of persecution. Now, the author of Revelation, who calls himself John, writes in a style called apocalyptic literature. This was a common Jewish genre that used dreams, visions, and intense symbolism to make sense of the present suffering and to proclaim that God's justice would ultimately prevail. In John's vision, Rome appears as the beast, its economic system as the mark of the beast, its military power as monstrous and destructive. None of this was about distant future events. It was about right then, speaking truth about Rome's brutality in a way that his community would understand, but that might go over the heads of Roman officials. So Borg points out that Revelation draws heavily on Hebrew prophets like Isaiah, Ezekiel, Daniel. This means that even its most strange imagery, beasts, trumpets, cosmic battles, is rooted in a tradition of using symbolism to talk about God's faithfulness in the face of oppression. The end of the book is not about annihilation. It's about renewal. A new heaven and a new earth. The holy city descending, God dwelling among the people, tears wiped from every eye. If we read it in this way, Revelation is not a horror story. It's a resistance literature. It's a resistance book. It's the testimony of a community that refuses to let empire define the future. It's a declaration that violence, greed, and oppression do not have the last word. Now, as Unitarian Universalists, we can take that same message into our own time. We live under empires as well, as you well know. Political systems, economic structures, cultural narratives that value profit over people, uniformity over diversity, dominance over compassion, the list keeps going. Revelation invites us to imagine what a new Jerusalem would look like today. Not a literal city, but a renewed world where justice, equity, and peace are real things happening all over the place. Marcus Borg's reading encourages us to take Revelation seriously as a vision for the present, not as a prediction for the future. It asks, how can we live now as people who can believe another world is possible? How can we be communities of hope that quietly, persistently undermine the logic of empire? And maybe, most of all, Revelation invites us to hold on to courage, because even in the darkest times, there is a story being told about a future where love wins, and that story is ours to live into as well. I'll see you again in just a second.